Um, you can slap me.
No,
Yeah, you can. No, come on,
I'm not.
slap me. You're pissed off. Slap me.
I don't want to.
Oh, sweetheart.
Here, let me do it.
Okay.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about was the fact that I missed the David Lynch funeral I was out of town on a job, obviously, and with great regret because the event was apparently spectacular in its bizarre level of sort of bizarro. It was held downtown Los Angeles somewhere, and every person was escorted into this area under a used bowling alley, an old unused bowling alley by two 7-foot tall white men that were like stick men that didn't say a word, didn't blink, didn't say anything, didn't took you into the area. At the end of the funeral, there was, and it was presided over by a woman wearing only a veil and a hat, and she had no clothes on, and she talked a lot about a pornographer from the 70s. And then when people decided to leave, they couldn't find their way out because they blocked all the exits, and so you had to find out a new way. There were ways out of it, but it took you to crazy places in Los Angeles that no one had ever been before. So it sounds like quite a trip.
Very Lynchian, even in death. I mean, I wonder if people entered to like the industrial sounds of Dune, like the Dune soundscape, not Dune because he had a rough experience on that, but maybe the Blue Velvet soundscape where it was just like these industrial oil rig type refinery sounds, and you walk in and there's ushers like that look shockingly like Jack Nance and Eraserhead, because there's probably cosplayers that do it. I openly wonder how they may have paid tribute to all his work. And was Bob's Big Boy served? Did Bob's Big Boy cater it?
Yeah, no, apparently not. But so the ceremony was officiated by an unidentified woman who read the day's weather report aloud,
of course,
through tears. Isn't that David Lynch? While only dressed in a black hat, veil, and opera gloves. Isn't that great? She gave the eulogy for a local porn producer named Dick Laurent before vanishing into the shadows. And crazy. After 15 minutes of perfect silence, attendees who attempted to leave discovered that all the exits had disappeared. Several found other ways out via doors inside buildings, which led to other locations throughout Los Angeles County, including a cheap hotel in San Dimas, a greasy spoon in Alhambra. And at the time of this writing, half of the people who attended Lynch's funeral have yet to reappear in public. Well, you can take that at face value, I guess. But
he loved the urban landscape, didn't he? He felt like he was a character in it, and I can see him in a greasy spoon in Alhambra, and I can actually see him taking meetings in these places too. I know most of his meetings were done at his headquarters, which was Bob's Big Boy. Toto told me they got the job to do the music for Dune at a meeting at Bob's Big Boy. McLaughlin, all these guys say the work was done there, but I can see him walking into like El Tepeyac and Montebello and be like, this place has the world's biggest burrito. Like we're going to enjoy the world's biggest burrito right now. And we're going to put on our headphones, and I'm listening to 1982's Devo release, It's a Beautiful World. I just see him like, these things are not far off from the man he was. And he did give us a tremendous amount of art, the way he interpreted his art, his vision of the world. And we're split on the Lynchian mystique. You are a fan of Eraserhead, so much so you even roadshowed your own short with it around theaters in Canada as a double feature, which I think is a brilliant move. But I find his work.
It was a pretentious thing for me to do, but it helped me climb the greasy pole.
I think it's before you get on how pretentious it was, I think it was genius, and I'm a little bit more mystified by his work, but I respect him nonetheless. So I don't want to alienate the Lynch fans in the conversation here, but continue.
The Lynch fans are all, including myself, are all prone to say things like the most important filmmaker of our era, things like that. And I know that those words fall deaf on many ears, but it is definitely his influence on a small group of fans. I would say, like, not everyone loves his work, but on a group of fans, has been profound. Like he really changed a lot for them. So I'll say that.
Oh, I mean, for some people, it's absolute gospel on a screen. I mean, they do not want to hear any sort of conflict or misinterpretation of what they perceive the work to be. And look, that's one of the beautiful things about our art form is it's there to be interpreted by the individual, his or her way, and or their way. You know, it's not one of those things that we are not right or wrong. And that's why I always tell people, whatever the movie is, you should see it for whatever you can get out of it. And Lynch was one of those guys that I felt like was just like channeling a free flow of ideas, whether they made sense in a conventional movie sort of structure type way, that you can discuss. But I feel like he never didn't shut himself off. I felt like he would say, if the idea is in my head, I should go with it because it's in my head. That's the, you know, go ahead. What you say?
And in terms of those, the ideas that were in his head were largely brought into his head through the act of meditation. And he was I actually read, I came to meditation through a book that he wrote called The Biggest Fish, maybe, or something about fishing. Anyway, I read it, and it was all about how you go deep down, and the deeper you go, the better chance you have of finding a fish that's large and really edible. You bring it up, and you can feed on that. You know, these are allegories, of course. You can feed on that forever creatively because it's come from a place so deep and profound. And I started meditating, and it's been a life changer for me. And that's
Really?
that's not a lie. Yeah.
He was a big advocate for that. In fact, we had a script at Warner Brothers when I was still there in feature development that we were trying to do about 70s police officers. And I remember saying, there's an anger management scene, and we went after Christopher Walken, and I said, number 2 is David Lynch, and he can do like a meditation thing with these angry cops, but Lynch can just probably free flow the whole scene. And it was just he was that known for it that even it's like a joke within the studio, you know, like get him in there and we'll all laugh. We don't know if anyone else will find it funny, but you know, you can go to the type.
He's a good actor.
He was.
Like we saw him in the Spielberg movie, you know, where he played, who did he play? He played some director that was working at Universal who had the patch on his eye.
Ford, right? Wasn't he John Ford?
John Ford, thank you.
Yeah.
They tell me you want to be a picture maker.
Yes, sir, I do.
Why? This business, it'll rip you apart.
Well, Mr. Ford,
So what do you know about art, kid?
I love your movies so much.
No art. See that painting over there?
Yeah. I mean, yes. Yes, I do see it.
Walk over to it. Well, what's in it? Describe it.
Oh, okay. So there are 2 guys, and they're on horseback, and they're looking for something. So maybe they're scouting.
No. Where's the horizon?
The horizon?
Where is it?
It's at the bottom.
That's right. Walk over to this painting. Well?
Right, okay, so there are 5 cowboys, you know,
No. Where's the goddamn horizon?
It's there.
Where?
At the top of the painting.
All right, get over here. Now remember this. When the horizon's at the bottom, it's interesting. When the horizon's at the top, it's interesting. When the horizon's in the middle, it's boring as shit. Now, good luck to you. And get the fuck out of my office.
And he, you know, young Steven Spielberg came to his office and he lectured him on a painting that was on the wall, you know, how the composition worked in thirds, which is something you learn in art school. And he's like, you see, If it's in the middle, it's bullshit. If it's framed this way, it doesn't make any sense at all. But if you get low down, now it gets interesting. Remember that. Get out of my office. Those kind of
Yeah, yeah. There is that famous story Spielberg tells about wandering into John Ford's office, which is probably true to a degree. And Ford basically, for the audience listening to what Steve's saying, is that Ford basically explains that you're not a real director until you let the sky do some of your visual storytelling or the landscape. And to do that, you can't just be at 50. You have to get low or get high. He had a very interesting way of putting it, which actually made sense. The problem is it comes from Ford, who we know is a complete fucking visionary, but also a complete fucking tyrant. So I don't know how maybe he did give it to Spielberg in the way the Fablemans tell it, but it's fun to talk about.
It was tyrannical the way he delivered it, that was for sure. But and there is truth to to I think the compositional advice that he gave him. Like there is some, like symmetry is boring as shit, and it's in fact evil.
And it is.
You got to stay away from symmetry unless you have a really good reason for it.
Hello, my name is Simon Williamson. Help us find a cure for NMOSD, neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorder, and with it, cancer. Please go to the Guthrie Jackson Foundation and donate if you can.